Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode, we're going to be going over an 2020 alternate scenario. What if President Donald Trump was in an election scenario where COVID was not real? If COVID did not take place in 2020, what would the electoral map look like? I feel like the president would have had a much easier time winning re-election. Before the pandemic, according to CNN, his regular approval rating was 49%. The economy approval rating was like 59. They had him much higher in the electoral college against a generic Democrat. So we're going to be doing an autopsy report on Biden's, essentially would be losing the 2020 election. See, like comparing it to the 2020 results and kind of seeing how that's going to show in 2024 and how this can lay out the groundwork for 2024. So before we start the video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a friend so we can get the channel up on the algorithm. And here we go. So Donald Trump as president, he had a very good economic standing, in the nation. He had like 90% satisfied with life, ratings, like incumbent presidents to have those approval ratings in late 2019, early 2020 is like a freaking blessing to have those. So I feel like honestly, he would have had a much easier time winning the presidential election back then in 2020 if COVID was not a real thing. Now, we're going to be filling out some of the safe states. I do think that Iowa would have been a 15-point victory for Donald Trump. I think he would have done exceptionally well in Iowa. I think he would have gotten the base to turn out. Now, again, I just want to make this very clear. Turnout's going to be a little bit funny because since there's no COVID, mail-in ballots is not as present. The turnout of the whole nation wouldn't have been necessarily as strong. I think Trump would have won the popular vote in 2020 if it weren't for COVID. I think he would have probably gotten around 72 million votes, 71 million votes, and Biden would have gotten like 68, 69 million votes. That's probably what I'm assuming what would have happened. Biden would have definitely improved on Hillary's vote margin, but he would have definitely not gotten 81 million votes. And Trump would have not gotten 74 million votes. He would have gotten close to it, but not necessarily there. And Biden would have gotten like 69, 70 million. Trump would have gotten 60, 72, 73 million. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So it's really like a Trump plus 1.5 popular vote victory. So you're going to see states like Illinois still be safe, as well as New York. They're still really left here. I mean, they would be significantly closer. They'd be like 15-point win here and 17-point win here, but not necessarily, super duper competitive. Ohio, I definitely think would have been like a 12-point win. He would have done very well, would have driven up the base there. I think Florida would have been a likely state at that point in time. I think Florida would have probably been about a 6-point win if it wasn't for that. And I think Texas would have been like a 12-point win at that point, or like 11-point win. It would have been a massive victory there. Colorado would have been like a 6-point win, and New Mexico is going to be very, very competitive in this timeline. Alaska would have been like a 15-point win. Oregon would have been likely again. You would have had it. We'll get to New Hampshire in a second, but definitely Maine at large would have been significantly closer. Would have been probably a 2-point victory for Biden. New Hampshire, I'm going to get to it in a second because it is an quote-unquote anti-incumbent state. So I do feel like the state probably would have voted for Biden by maybe like a point, but I'm going to characterize it in a second now. So essentially, this is kind of like all the likely states pretty much. This is going to be really, well, actually, we're going to add North Carolina into the mix. I feel like North Carolina would have been, probably a 6 or 7-point win for the president at that time. If you look at the state of Arizona, I think it would have been about roughly what he got in 2016. It would have probably been a 3-point win. It would have shifted to the left like ever so slightly. I think Georgia would have been a 4-point win. I don't think it would have been, the shifts wouldn't have been as large. They still would have trended to the left, but I don't necessarily think that it would have been the same magnitude of swings that you see. Technically, they do actually trend to the left a lot because the environment's R plus 1.5 and Georgia's only R plus 4. So they technically do trend to the left quite a bit, more than 2020's reality actually, because in reality, Biden won by 4.5 and barely won Georgia. So in order for this victory to be the same here as in this timeline, the popular vote would have to be tied, whereas in this timeline, Trump wins the popular vote by 1.5 and the Georgia victory is 4.5 R. So really the state actually trends more left in this timeline than in the real one. But in terms of the swings are not going to be as hard because Trump does so well in the popular vote. If you look at the state of New Mexico, it's probably going to be about a 1 or 2 point win for Biden. I think he'll do somewhat okay here, but he's going to massively underperform with some voters. I think Nevada would have been about a 1.5 to 2 point win for the president. I think he would have easily won Nevada here. I think the state of Virginia would have been close. I think it would have been about a 3 or 4 point win. I think New Hampshire would have been like like a 1 point win. It literally would have been a point victory for the president. And then Wisconsin and Pennsylvania would have been, I think Wisconsin would have been 3.5 and Pennsylvania would have been like 2.5. And then you got Nebraska, second district that would have gone to the president. And then Michigan and Minnesota are the tilt states of the map. So Trump would have won 322 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 216 electoral votes. So you can clearly see here that he pretty much smokes Biden, in the presidential election. I do think this lays some groundwork, though, for 2024, because without COVID, it is going to give Trump a massive advantage. And we're going to compare those results, to the actual 2020 results. And you can see here Biden had a much better performance in real life than, Trump did, in this imaginary timeline where there is no COVID. I feel like Michigan would have swung more to the left as well, but it would have voted till Republican here. So you could see here was D+3 and a 4.5. So I feel like roughly the large swings for the popular vote would have mostly been in the rural areas. So this technically makes Michigan trend more to the left, but in reality, if Trump were to have lost the popular vote by effectively 1.5 points, he would have won Michigan. But in this timeline, he barely wins it in R plus 1.5, mainly because the rural states go so red that it kind of like shoots the popular vote totals for him quite a bit. Like, he would have actually done better in the rural states than what he's probably going to do in 2024, actually. His base would have been on fire here, to be honest, especially while he was the president. His base would have been very on fire in some of these Republican deep red states. And so pretty much what would have happened is Trump would have, improved with Hispanics. He would have actually probably done a little bit better with the black vote, especially that the BLM riots probably wouldn't have occurred. More people would have probably recognized his accomplishments in criminal justice reform and other things like that. So he would have improved the blacks a little bit, maybe by about 5 to 10 percentage points. So he probably would have won anywhere from 15 to 20% of the black vote, and he probably would have gotten 40% of the Hispanic vote in this election, and does very well with non-educated white voters, as well as narrowing the gap with college-educated white voters as well, leading him to have a pretty big electoral college defeat of Joe Biden. So that is it for this video. I hope you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with a friend, and have a good rest of your day, and take care. I think that